back then, Hornsey was great. It was just like a family thing. Everyone used to come together. I remember when we went Lyceum and we used to challenge all the other breakdance crews down there. It was absolutely fabulous. My brother Franklin, I remember the time when he got kicked out because they thought he was going to have an actual physical fight with one of the other guys from the other crews. But it was a kind of love thing, you know. We all used to. It was more about the dance and the challenges. There's nothing about violence and all that stuff we've got now in the century we are in now.
So how did it make you feel when you first saw breaking?
Oh, when I first saw breaking, I just felt like, wow, it was so different. It was so different watching how those young guys were moving on the floor and what they were doing. It's like, it wasn't quite gymnastic and it wasn't quite what you'd call traditional dancing. It was just unique. Just the whole way one would express themselves. It's completely different. And I just thought, I've got to have some of this. Got to have some of this. So it was first introduced to us through a friend who, one of our crew in break-a-zoids known as Tom Thumb, which is a brother. He's actually living in America now. He's always influenced by America, and he went back years ago after we left school. He was the one really, he was like the brainchild behind the break-a-zoids, and he really set the ball rolling for us. It's a shame he's not here now, that it could be a part of the interview, but yeah, he was definitely the inspiration in getting us going. But yeah, we breakdancing back then, it was it. There was nothing else that was important to us. We just wanted to break, we wanted to master this breaking, we wanted to master it. So we were training like 7 days a week at one stage. Yeah, it was relentless. We could talk to you a bit later about the stages that you go through, the pain barrier. You have to get through the pain barrier.
Man, you want to go first?
Wow. It was like total inspiration. Totally took us, you know, for myself, it was a danger aspect too. That was the other element part to breaking. Like, you know what I mean, you hear the stories, you hear people break their arms and legs and certain things, you know what I mean? So the danger aspect of it enthralled us even more to get involved in that. And that's what it was about.
Well, I suppose we saw it first on the TV. Film Breakdance and, you know, Rocksteady crew and all them guys there, and videos, music videos with breakdancing in the background. Yeah, it all looked really good to us at the time, so yeah.
Right, so what happened, a good friend named of Ansel Clark brought down a Time Out magazine, and the Time Out magazine had New York City Breakers, and he goes to, and at the time Franklin and Derek was popping at the time, and he brought down this Time Out magazine with New York City Breakers, and he goes to us, oh, this, you want to get with this. So we was looking at we was looking at the Time Out magazine, and I said, wow. Ansel was the first one, because he was heavily into martial arts, Jackie Chan, and he was the first one to do the egg roll and the scissors kick, because he used to like a lot of Jackie Chan movies.
I freaked out. It was amazing. It was just, you know, it was like a new step from martial arts in a way. You know, with martial arts, you've got the lineage of being connected to like over 1,000 years, and b-boying is relatively new, maybe from like late 60s. So it came like a second wind, you know. So I just dived straight into it with what I could do.
My side was when we was doing martial arts, we used to go to a school called Shaolin Fists up Cavendish Road down Haringey, and Franklin went down there as well. Franklin went into the school. Many of us went to the school. And there was this other friend of ours called Wayne Jervis. He lives straight down this side, very close down the road. There was times when I used to still do martial arts, right? And there was times like when I used to exercise and that and this. We used to see Wayne as well, because Wayne used to go Shaolin Fist as well. There was a time when Wayne called me up and said that I saw a movie called Flashdance in Curzon, right? But in a moment of a part of the film was these cats was getting on the floor. There was a b-boying scene, breakdancing scene. And obviously we didn't know who, he didn't know who the crew was. Obviously it was Rocksteady and all that. And when he told me about it, I went to see it one afternoon down here, right? When it was a cinema. Now it's a church, I think.
That's right, just over here.
That's right, just at the back here. When he told me it's a music video, but these cats was getting down and they were doing like acrobatical moves. Even that time I was still into martial arts. Still love it now, but I was doing martial arts still then. And when I went to see the movie, I was waiting for this clip where he was talking about. And when Just Begun, Jimmy Carter Bunch sparked off, all I see was the clip from Flashdance. And when I saw Flashdance, that was maybe about 3-4 minutes clip. I was stunned. When I saw it, I wanted to watch it again. So I stayed in the cinema 3 times. You know what I mean? First film finished, second time, fourth. Maybe I was in there about 4 or 5 hours. When I came out, I was like stunned.
Just for that particular.
That's right. And then I think this was kind of like, it was like a school holiday time. When I went to school, I saw all my brothers, all my friends was like into it. Like some people were popping, breaking and all that. Even at that time, I didn't see no Buffalo Girls or nothing like that. I'm not saying I was the first and Flashdance was the first. Maybe I was, you know, I could mistake myself. Maybe it was Buffalo Girls, but I saw Flashdance first.
Well, it's a buzz, bruv. Let me tell you, it's a buzz. It was like, I don't know, you know, when you first have your sweet, first ever sweet that you have when you're a baby, it's like you're sucking it like a craziness, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was a buzz. I mean, when we actually first saw it, if I remember rightly, I think we saw some sort of like clips from the States. I think one of our crew members, Flexi, I think his name was, showed Paul, and we always used to go to Paul's place and watch these sort of like clips, and it's like when we saw, I think it was New York City Breakers, that was it, man. We were sort of like hooked. We were sort of like hooked. I mean, we still were doing our martial arts at the time, but after a while, the martial arts faded into a sort of like a combination of the breaking, do you know what I mean? So we actually put our breaking skills, our martial arts skills, into the actual breaking.
There was a program, if any of you guys remember a program called Black on Black. That was when Gladys Knight and the Pips, New York City Breakers, came on. Don't Stay Away Too Long.
That's right.
Yeah?
That's right.
Saved It All the Time for Me. That was the track, right.
Yeah.
And yeah, we was getting busy, man, on breaking. And
it was just more information of the breaking was coming in.
Yeah, breaking was coming in after,
that was our food. From there on, that was our food because there was no...
Yeah, Flashdance was the first. Flashdance was the first.
Instruction sheet how to do breaking.
Flashdance was the first that I saw anyway.
That was it, you know what I mean? And from then onwards, we had to find out for ourselves how to put it down, same way.
Well, that was a trip out right there. When I first saw it, I think I was watching Break-a-zoid. And it was back in the day when they were doing things like mirrors and stuff like that. And that was fantastic. I thought to myself, wow, this is something I got to do. But the real time that I really got inspired was when I saw Franklin. What did he used to call himself? Anyways, I saw Franklin in Priory Park one time, and I was well young. I saw him body popping in Priory Park, and there was a crowd around him. So me and a few others ran over to see what was going on. And we see Franklin there doing a new style. At the time it was new, and it was called cracking. And that freaked me out. Yeah, that was the moment really. And yeah, from there I saw people getting fanatical about it, and so did I. I became a real fanatic, and yeah. From there, it wasn't about school anymore. It was just about practice. I want to pop, I want to pop, I want to pop. As time went forward, the style changed a lot. And I found myself kind of learning new styles, past cracking into actual popping. that's when our generation had our turn.
Right. So when I first saw it, it was because, like I said, we were dancing before already. We was like going electric ballroom, like to boogie clubs. We were like soul men, a little bit of jazz here and there, but our thing was more like the boogie and soul. And we had a little crew already. We used to just go out to different clubs and just dance. But at them time it was like the club dance. Yeah. And then I can't remember. We saw Jeffrey Daniels. Remember Shalimar yeah. Doing the backslide and the yeah. You get me, right? And that was it. I remember me and Mark trying to do the backslide, to add that into our little soul moves. And then after that, like Mark said, we had a friend called Mark Hudson, and he just came back from the States. And first he was showing us the footwork, and like what they call footwork and everything. So he just showed us that, and from we saw that, and then the videos as well, like Buffalo Girls, Flash Dance, just got us, just kicked in, and it was like the next progress for us, to be honest. It was like we said, we was BMX, skateboarding, roller skating, jumping wall, jumping this, and that just seemed like the right thing. A dance and those kind of moves at the same time as well. We watched martial arts as well, so it was like a combination of the mix. And that was like, and then even on top of that, even after we finished or coming to an end of breaking, we even moved into capoeira as well, keeping that spin, that flow. We've always been like that.
A challenge. I needed to. I'm a person that likes a challenge, and I thought I needed to try this. It looked good, it looked cool, very athletic, as I'm a sort of athletic person. Love exercise and that, and I thought, yeah, challenge, and I could do this.
Break-a-zoid was Carl Anderson and Warren. What's that other brother's name? He had the big chest. Daniel Edwards. Oh my gosh, wicked body popper. And yeah, a whole heap of them. There was a whole heap of them.
Excited. We was in like a mood that we wanted to learn it and just like, you know, try and copy the Americans, copy the B-boys of America. And yeah, I felt excited. Everyone was doing it. Everyone was popping. Everyone was breakdancing. Well, some of us started to learn breakdancing, but the popping, it was very expressional, and we all came into that firstly, and then we learned how to break.
How long did it take you to learn to break, though?
Oh wow, that's interesting because there's so many stages, and as I was saying earlier, with breaking, it's a discipline. Like any art form, it requires commitment, dedication, and you have to be focused. And I remember like one of the moves I got known for was the turtle. Although my aim was always to be all round, and I more or less achieved that, but I wasn't a head spinner. But everything else, yeah, I had to learn it. I had to learn everything else.
But how long did it take you to learn?
It took, I would say, really, you're looking at, I would say a couple of years, really. A couple of years, I would say, really. If you're saying, to get it perfected, I would say, because someone could say, no, it only took me a couple of months to learn to do mills, training 7 days a week, but how clean was it? How did you execute your windmills? How did you execute your turtle or your backspin? I remember watching the, I don't know if you remember the Gladys Knight video that became famous, and there's that famous sequence that one of the breakers did. I'm not sure if it's New York City Breakers that was in their video. And when the brother was doing that turtle, that sequence he did, I mastered that down to a T, exactly how he did it. And so that, I remember how long it took to do that, learning to do the stages in learning to do the turtle, because first you have to learn to suspend your whole body weight just on your arm, and then you have to learn to move around with your arm to tilt. Don't like to do it now, because it's a different ball game now. And then you have to learn to pick up the momentum and keep it controlled. That's the trick, to keep your weight controlled, and then get it going and going and going faster, faster, faster. And then you have to learn, so that all took easy over a year, couple of years to really master, I would say. And we were training, we were dedicated because we were training first. Initially, we started training outdoors on the solid concrete. And then we managed to get a lino. We trained in a lino. And then we went indoors in the community centre. And we started training indoors. We started training in the community centre on the corner of Fern Park Road, the community centre up the top of Stapleton Hall Road. And then we was training in Tottenham. So we, YMCA, the boys club, Harringay Boys Club. So anywhere we could find really, and we just kept training as often as we could, and just stayed on it.
When we went back to school, when we all recruited back to school after summer term holidays, yeah, many of us was doing it, and we wanted to share this information of what he's involved in on the 4 elements, what he's involved in. Some few people took up graffiti, some people took up DJing, some people took up MCing, and most of us actually took over breaking. Reason why is because we was too active in martial art era, and it didn't, and I tell you, maybe this will come later on in our talks, but it didn't really catch us to suss out the culture in the beginning anyway, because there was another crew called Break-a-zoids, right? They were living up Chettle Court. I live up Nightingale Road, up Commerce Road, but I used to go stationers. But Franklin used to live just uplands, just a few yards down the road. And if anything was to be shared, that was the headquarters, man, you know what I mean? It weren't no headquarters nowhere else. It was either Paul's yard or it was Franklin's yard, you understand what I'm saying? He was running the show, really, but we had to adapt to it, you know? So, I mean, there was Break-a-zoids as well. It didn't take long for us to learn, because what it was is, we wanted to seek more information about this, because our bodies were more, not because we were stretched up and flexed up and all that. We would fit anyway for that. We're in late night martial era times, right? If they say like Jackie Chan, Babyface, Loon Guyan, they had different kind of styles. We was very, very good at that, to judge who is better than who in martial art movies. In our perspective, everyone had their own flavour of actors and characters, you know what I mean? But we was more down heavy with Loon Guyan and all that and this, but we resembled this into hip hop.
The very first move was watching Malcolm McLaren, Buffalo Girls, and there was this guy doing 6 steps, and I used to practice that element. And to put it all in perspective, I saw another guy called Hallet, and he had that exactly move what I was explaining down to perfect. He had the 6 steps and into the backspin, just like the Americans. So that was just a great feeling when I saw Hallet do it.
About a month to get into it, you know, to learn the basics, you know. Okay. Bit of footwork and bit of backspin, and then you take it from there.
It did a while with a lot of help off of Hallet, my brother Franklin, the influences of Kelvin, all the crew. We all pulled together on a weekly basis and tried different moves and developed them, and we worked hard, because that's what it's about, working hard to achieve the goal that you want to achieve.
I think there was a time when there was a friend of ours in Jedi's crew called Anthony. Anthony, what's his surname? The light-skinned brother? Anthony Thomas, that's right. Anthony Thomas one day came up to Paul's yard one day with a tape, with Wild Style, right? And he goes, I got this documentary called Wild Style, right? And we went, what is this, man? We put this Wild Style documentary on, right? And this was in German subtitles. It was in subtitles. English speaking, German subtitles. And he brought it in, and we watched this movie. We watched this documentary in Paul's house up in Uplands. The whole crew was there in the room. When the film started, till end. There was no blinks, no talk, no chat, no fart, no nothing. We didn't even blink when we was watching it.
Total focus.
Total focus.
Yeah.
When we was watching it, we was scanning everything, man. We were scanning the clothes. We were scanning the rhymes of everything. It didn't have to be just the rhymes. The DJing, the MCing, breaking.
The whole culture.
Because we got a strong experience through martial art that we can resemble this bridge into what we are involved in newly. So we might be involved in newly, but we know deep down in our hearts that we're going to catch up fast, man, because we caught up. Yeah, the transition from martial arts to this, it was no way different.
As I said, it depends on the individual. I mean, if you've got it in you, you can do it. It's just a matter of polishing up the move that you want to do and perfect it. Do you know what I mean? And that's like with everything. Do you know what I mean? With the martial arts, if you want to sort of like do a certain move or do a technique, you got to keep exercising, keep training, and motivate yourself to do that. And eventually, you'd have it skilled. You know?
Not long. It wasn't really long because I learned with all friends, and when friends gather and group up and do things together, they help each other. Do you know what I mean? Like the windmill, I remember the windmill used to give us all like a back pain, like a big lump in our back because we learned it, we didn't know what we was doing. We'd all get the pain, but then it will fade out and then with this windmill like easy, you know what I mean? But yeah, we all had this pain. I mean, yeah, it didn't take us long. I reckon around like a good like 3 months odd practice, yeah.
It depends on the individual, I'm telling you. It depends on how much you want that move, how much time you're going to put into it, right? It's like when we first started, like Mark was saying, it takes a couple of years. Everyone think you could just come in and learn it, but there's like, you've got to reach to a certain point, right, before you could say you've learned something, you know what I mean? And then as well, like when we first started, everyone was just running in, doing what they can at that time. Just trying to, interpretation of what we saw, like kick round, backspin, you just throw yourself on the floor and kick round. But then like we were saying, our friend Tony Hudson, when he came back from the States, he showed us about this here. Put the hand in the hips here and one hand there. And once you got the trigger, you're off. All right, so that's like a thing. It moves. There's like, you have to find the trigger, the strength, the stamina for the move, the balance. Is a lot of different elements that you have to go through in order to like conquer a move or be 100% on a move, you know. So it depends on the person. That's the best way I could say. It depends on the individual, and then we're all different as well. Everyone learned in different ways, so, you know.
Still, we were still seeking information because as we are getting into these kind of documentaries, video clips, we weren't really, you know, we weren't taking what we were seeing. We was mobilizing it. You understand? Because even in martial arts, we wouldn't copy others that others was doing that we would do. You know. So when we watched Wildstar, we was tapped into our door by Break-a-zoids, right? For an exchange of the video to this video they had of dynamic rockers, right? And this was in black and white. This dynamic rockers was in black and white, and its backdrop track was A Nipple and a Bottle by Grace Jones. Many people probably would know that, but we didn't see this video, right? And Warren and them lot, Warren and Mark and them lot in Break-a-zoids, they didn't know about Wildstar, and we didn't know about dynamic rockers. So he came up to us and he said, man, we can do an exchange, right? And you can see our shit and we can see your shit. So more information we had in our hands, gradually we was getting better.
Yeah, that's what
we was getting better because without getting information, you couldn't observe. Without the information, you can't sink that in to exercise it on the floor.
No instruction board.
That's right, there weren't no instruction boards. So we rinsed out Wildstar, meaning not biting it, taking it down. We just wanted to know what's happening out there and how it came over. So when we had dynamic rockers, when we was watching dynamic rockers, we saw things that we didn't see Rocksteady was doing. You understand? And we saw things that Rocksteady were doing that Dynamics weren't doing. You know what I mean? So both of these crews was like very important to us.
What year was that?
This was around early 83, just past 82, early 83, coming up to, you know, February, March, April, May, something like that.
It's about locking ourselves away after that and then practicing.
That's right.
And getting this together. And
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? It's not a thing that come overnight. It was a lot of bumps, bruises, and all kinds of things going on with us.